So without any further ado, Sister Mahjabeen Dhala.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين وهو خير ناصر ومعين ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين صلى الله على محمد We're all cognizant of what the Quran says in Surah Jummah because Jummah was not very far from where we are today. هو الذي بعث في الأميين رسولا منهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةِ. I'm going to really not even try to apologize that whatever I wanted to say has been already slashed out. But I will start with iterating that our intention is not to go towards a place where we are not appreciative of our differences. So we're not aiming for sameness, just like Professor Bezian made it clear. What we're trying to do is put our money where our mouth is, because we are living in this climate where we are forcing the climate around us to recognize diversity in gender, race, ethnicity. And it's time that we look within ourselves and see if we're ready to accept that diversity within our own tradition. As we are forging forward and saying that we want the West to realize that Islam is not a monolithic, and that they cannot view all Muslims with that same lens, are we ready to put that lens on to see within our own tradition and say that people of different colors and different faiths and different doctrines and different madhahib are also part of who we are? So I'm thinking that it's probably the time that we need to revive this verse. This verse that we hear so often is a verse that I refer to quite a lot. At university, my dissertation looks at the sermon of Sayyidah Fatima, and I'm trying to use that sermon to locate female activist voices in the 7th century. So that has brought me face to face with the elephant in the room, where we're talking Fatima versus who. So it has brought me face to face with the elephant in the room, and I'm just going to share with you within my time how I think this verse, or reviving the prophetic pedagogy within this verse, could be very useful for us given the climate that we are in today. So when we look at this verse, we see how the Prophet started his mission. He started with informing. So there was information given to a group of people who were struggling with strife and warfare. And with that information were posed questions in their minds which forced them to unform some of the things that they thought was the normative. So the information, يَتْلُو عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتِهِ, led to the يُزَكِّيهِمْ. يُزَكِّيهِمْ was a part of first dismantling or deconstructing what they thought was right, and then trying to put things together in light of the new information that was gained. And with that unforming came a reform that led to the transformation of Muslims, which was يُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةِ. With the book and the wisdom of the book, they were now heading towards a transformation, towards wisdom and prosperity. I think in this climate, we need to do a little bit of that. We need to revive that prophetic pedagogy, where we need to instill information which leads us to question what we have started to think of as the normative. So before we go ahead and try and see that a Shia becomes an advocate for a Sunni cause, actually we have the Quds Day, put forward by the Shia government, or maybe by the Sunnis taking up the cause of the Shias, the first thing we'll have to do is actually go there and unform the misconceptions, unread them. We have to put in questions and say, why is Bilal buried in Syria? Why is Abu Dhar in Rabada? Just put questions in people's minds that invokes a kind of inquiry. We're not trying to opinionate people. We're not trying to lead people's minds into conversion or even into a kind of acceptance. But just as we are open in academia to study American history, to study the Black liberation movement, why are we not open to address the elephant in the room? And that is our own history. Why can we not look at it from an academic, informative kind of view, not a polemic view? Just information to which each and every one of us has a right to. And I would say I find this lack of information of Shia voices at an academic level, which I'm hoping that together as an ummah, together as a nation, we can address. So once we ask these questions, how did people come up with these myths about one another? I mean, how did they even come up with a person who says La ilaha illallah to designate them kafir? Where does it come that Shias worship the stone that they pray on? Where did these fallacies come from? To have one conference like this, you spent hours, you spent money, you spent the faculty time, but how do these things spread? We'll have to curve them with these kinds of information. When we take information and try to become reformative through dialogical methods, we will have to iterate and try that this dialogue happens with guided scholarship. Because if dialogue about Sunni and Shia dissension happens over dinner tables or over milads, it's just going to end up into a fight because it is not guided with the right scholarship. So perhaps it is time to revive kalam. A kalam which engages on a scholastic level experts from different areas. And then perhaps we could look for avenues where we can work towards a transformation of the Muslim ummah or the community. Perhaps we can look at the common challenges, as has been pointed out by our several speakers before us in this climate, the common challenges that we have together. Why is it that a group of Sunnis are destroying Islamic heritage in Saudi Arabia? How about if we came together and talked about that? Things like, why is the oppression of people in Yemen, people in Bahrain, nobody ever found out about it? Where are the people in our media who will interrogate this cause? So, inshallah, before I'm shown the 30-second card, I'm just going to end by saying that perhaps this is the time, iterating, for us to revive the prophetic pedagogy, which will give us a channel, a strategic method where we can engage in information, unformation, reformation, and inshallah, bidnillahi ta'ala, a transformation of the superior voice of Islam, and stop taking the leftover technology, taking the leftover scholarship from the white supremacists, and actually reiterating what being Muslim is all about. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.
Wow, thank you. Now I know why. So thank you for sharing your thoughts and your wisdom.